Well, I hate to go from being all happy and excited about a Disney Dreamlight Valley update to being upset about a really controversial thing going on with The Sims lately in the span of a few hours, but that is what is happening today. So there was that recent update that changed the console controls again, and after months of console players complaining, I was hoping that this would be the fix that they needed, but they actually made things even worse in some ways, and it actually gets even worse than that because they have made a thread asking for feedback about console controls, but they're banning people temporarily and deleting some criticism. And I'm not talking about posts that are being super rude or sending death threats or things like that. Obviously, some players are very passionate about getting these controls fixed because controls are vital to a game. If your control scheme isn't good, then the rest of the game tends to fall apart, even if it looks visually pretty. We'll start with this post from LostySim815, saying that since the console controls have been changed, they collide with one another. For example, to zoom in and out will unpause games that are paused to capture a screenshot, and clearing all wall posts changes game speed. And the button changes to live mode to mirror CAS were unnecessary as we never had these hotkeys in CAS. So I believe it is safe to assume after the outburst of rage from the community in regards to build buy mode changes, these changes were both unwanted and unnecessary. You can see the timestamp of 2:39 at the top of the screenshot. Then, just before 11, it's already removed, saying that it is in violation of the Answers HQ community guidelines because of being a troll, baiting, or flaming, including deliberately trying to cause an argument by making sarcastic, off-topic, rude, or disruptive posts and discussions. So what is so horrible about this post that it needed to be removed? Yeah, they state examples of why the new controls are not good, and acknowledge that yes, for a fact, there is rage from the community with these changes. That's not worthy of being removed. And yeah, I highly doubt they would change the controls so drastically on PC. To focus so much on just a slight bit of criticism is really missing the mark and just missing the entire point. To bring up an even tamer example, we have Mikey saying silencing continues. I was banned for this reply. It's really getting out of hand. EA help, silencing players should never be an option. Not to mention moderators on EA Answers having to warn you before banning you. They are clearly not following their own rules of moderation. And the post in question says, Dear Cade, Dear The Sims team, the solution is to listen to console players. The changes were not needed. Therefore, reverting them back would help most. Please listen to your players, don't delete their comments, and ban them for constructive criticism. Soon after, they followed up saying, I just noticed that another reply on the forum was deleted. All the reply said was, please The Sims team, I can't play the game. We didn't need the change. I know you tried to help us, but it got worse. Please return old settings so I can play. This is just so ridiculous. Imagine if we went to the bakery and half the bread is all moldy, including the type of bread that we were originally there for. We go up to the cashier and no insults, no excessive swearing, no death threats, just voicing our concerns that, hey, half your bread is moldy. Could you please do a better job checking your product before selling them? And then getting banned for a day because of that. That's sort of what happened to Kirsty twice, because there is this initial detailed post going into why this whole console control change is bad and just basically like it's not something that was requested by the community. Kirsty then tweeted about it and ended up coming back to a temporary ban. After getting unbanned, Kirsty did make this other post basically calling them out on their comments being deleted just for giving genuine feedback. There is a rather simple request, just change the controls back to what was there before January 31st. And that's, yes, you can't just create a console version, then destroy the game with a bad control scheme and not expect any backlash at all for it. You'll never guess what happened next. Kirsty got banned in about half an hour after posting that. What's the reason? Don't chat about moderation. Our moderators are here to keep this place happy and helpful for everyone. Discussing the way they do things on the forum is not okay. Why? If you have any questions about your own moderation history, feel free to reach out to a moderator or a community manager. But then, if you're getting banned by those people, what does that do? So that is just really ridiculous. That's basically saying, hey, you're not allowed to hold us accountable. So what are the rules that Answers HQ has set out? Well, looking at the parts that they treat with zero tolerance, a lot of it seems reasonable. Like, yeah, don't break the law, or be sexist, or racist, or post links to viruses. There is the bit about being a troll, baiting, or flaming, which, yeah, like, don't do legit trolling. But the posts that I've seen here are just not that. Further down the page, they do mention that, yeah, discussing moderation is against the rules, and to not discuss your ban on the public forums or ask your friends to post about it for you. Which, I mean, makes sense if the ban was over illegal activity, but this is not what's going on here. Again, it feels like they're just saying, hey, you're not allowed to hold us accountable or else we're temp banning you. Adding to the confusion, there are some posts that are being left up that are being critical, and they would seem to be bannable offenses by the overly sensitive moderation standards. So, I don't know, like even things like typing words in all caps, or saying the buttons are killing me, please, by all that is sacred, go back to the old buttons, or questioning like why these changes were made in the first place. Like, it's just like, okay, those are fine, but then these other ones aren't. I even spotted this post that was apparently edited by EACade, one of the moderators, and I don't know what this post originally said, but it seems that even still, what is left there would seemingly be offensive to the moderators, but it is still there. When voicing your criticism, it is important to say why you feel that way and not just simply say, boo, you suck, and leave it at that, because that doesn't really help anyone in the long run. It doesn't help anyone improve anything. Yet, that is not what's going on here. People are giving suggestions, which pretty much is just to revert the console controls. And what I find strange as well is I haven't really seen this overly sensitive moderation behavior on Answers HQ. I will admit, I don't go on there super often, but even then, it feels like, okay, if this was something that was happening with every single bug that was reported on the forum, this would be a lot more widespread and talked about a lot more often, and just overall easier to notice. So, is it just specific discrimination against console players only, or is it one specific moderator that is abusing their power? I don't know. It's a really crappy issue, and I'm so sick of stuff like this happening, even when there are good things that happen, like the Werewolves game pack, then it's followed by the highly controversial High School Years with that buggy patch, and then with Growing Together, then we got this, and well, there's a leak about a possible Horses expansion, but that is for another video. I guess I have said all I needed to say on this topic, but I'm not sure how to end this video because it doesn't feel appropriate in this specific case to be like, oh, be sure to subscribe and all that jazz. So I'll just say, if you are playing on console exclusively with The Sims 4, I do feel really bad that you have all these issues, and even though I personally prefer playing on PC, that does not mean that console players should have to struggle so much. If that Horses expansion pack ends up being real and releases soon, then this really is just going to dull my excitement for that. Lots of PC players have spent around $1,000 on this game, and so have console players. That's no different. Console players deserve a working game just as much as PC, and it's just not a realistic expectation to just give completely neutral responses to changes that were never asked for in the first place.